Oh, okay. All right, cool. You guys are like ready to work. Okay, here we go. And I also set up my other device so I can see what's showing on the screen. All right. So responses. Okay, cool. You plotted your points. So why do you think 8 is not shaded? Okay. This is not greater than 8. So in other words, yep, it's equal to itself, right? So this somehow, reminds you of what you learned in middle school when you were talking about those it's an open circle or it's a solid circle when we're graphing inequalities, right? Cool. All right, nice. And if you guys are on slide number 3, so it shows you the difference between, using a filled in circle and an open circle, okay, by using those inequality symbols. Okay, now let's go to slick 6. Nice. All right. So you're trying to find the starting point mhm, before you set up the graph for the inequality. Good. And in slide number 5, okay, so chances are your number would be in the red shaded region to the left of 6. Okay, so for this inequality, we write x is less than 6. And again, 6 is not shaded, just like 8 in the previous example. All right. Yep, because 6 is equal to itself. All right. And again, in slide number 6, it shows you the difference between the two inequalities. X is less than or equal to 6, and x is less than 6. So again, in today's decimals, we are looking at how to graph inequalities. Later on, when we get to your digital notebook, we will see that all these concepts will be summarized, and you will be able to apply, what we reviewed here in solving inequality. So our goal this chapter, just like what we did in the first chapter, okay, is to solve. Okay, but this time we're solving inequalities instead of equations. Inequalities have been one variable. All right, and let's take a look at the answer key. Is Jenny's graph correct or no? All right, less than 14. Yep, Jenny's graph is incorrect because, all right, she needs to shade the numbers that are less than 14, and that does not include 14 itself. Um, all right, if I can read some of your responses here. Um, Remove the shading from 14 according to Michaela, unshade 14. Shade the numbers that are less than 14 and not include. Okay. Move the point past 14 according to Nico. Awesome. All right. I like how Christopher mentioned, some instances in which 14 must be shaded. Okay. Very good, guys. And if you are wondering like how you get graded for these decimals activities, um, at the end of the day, I go back to the to the summary page and figure out how many you finished and how many you got right. There are instances when the slide does not require a it doesn't require an answer, and it pretty much shows me that on my screen. As you can see right now, shows me a dash, so that means I don't count it. Uh-huh. Right. Now let's move on. I kind of forgot the last slide I was on. Okay. So in slide 8, it shows you how you're going to graph and shade the inequalities in the next screens that you will see. So you have to click on the first circles depending on, the direction of the shade and whether or not it's an open circle or a solid circle. And the first one being x is greater than or equal to 10. X is greater than or equal to 10. When teaching this in schools physically, I oh, sorry, I forgot to put my phone on silent mode. Okay, power off. All right, so I remember in school, students would normally say, "Oh, miss, whichever direction the inequality is pointing, that's where we shade." Okay, wherever the inequality is pointing, that's where we shade. And I just want to emphasize that. Um, Now, that is technically true if the variable is on the left hand side. Let me say that again. If the variable is on the left hand side. But I don't want you to get that, generalization and think that it's true all the time. You have to be very careful. If in middle school, the standard way of writing inequalities is the variable is on the left, in high school, you might see some examples in which they are reversed. So if that's the case, you have to, make sure you're shading correctly. All right. So since you want the numbers that are greater than 10, sometimes it's better to, identify numbers first that would fit into the inequality so we can be sure. So for this graph with 37 be a solution, and definitely you guys are right. Okay, great job. Next, x is less than negative 7. X is less than negative 7. So if I could have all your responses visible at the same time. There you go. You guys are now shading to the left of 7. That's good. And you're using an open circle, because 7 is not included in the solution. Very good. All right. And then for this graph, would negative 4 be a solution? Would negative 4 be a solution? And 10 students chose it's not a solution because it is greater than negative 7. Okay, so since negative 4 is closer to 0, then definitely you guys are right. It's greater than negative 7. Okay, very good. Next, I am now looking at number 13. If you're not there yet, graph x is greater than negative 2. Graph x is greater than negative 2. Okay, so I see some solid circles. I think you have to think about that one more time. Yeah. So remember, if there is no equality sign underneath the inequality, we use an open circle. Because it means that negative 2 is not included. So it could be, the very first decimal to the right of negative 2. Okay. How do we highlight the side? There's a Okay, sorry, I cannot like go to the original slide right now, but give me one sec. Let's see if I can do this. Um, Okay, you have to choose one of your options on the left hand side underneath a plus sign. So if you want to shade, you have to I'm using Giselle's as an example. So if you want to shade greater than, you have to click the circle on the left hand side among the four options. There you go. I hope that helps a little bit. Uh-huh. All right. And moving on. Oops. Oh, no worries. Yep. Okay. And moving on, we're graphing x is less than or equal to -8, less than or equal to -8. And I can see Joshua um, already finished with the graph, and let's see what it shows. Okay, I think let me move it down so we can see it. All right. Oh, you zoomed in. You zoomed in too much, Joshua. I had to zoom out to see it. Okay, so very good. So 8 is shaded in, and then the graph is going to the left hand side. Nice. For number 15, 5 is less than or equal to -x. And this is the part that I was explaining earlier. So if we follow, the rule that says, oh, the direction where the arrow or inequality is pointing is where the graph goes. And right now, I already see like a lot of, answers that need to be redone and corrected over here. So 5 is less than or equal to equal to x. So some of you are really following that rule that if it points to the left, then I go to the left. Again, that is not necessarily true. Okay, because if you get a number, let's say 4, which is to the left of 5, you know 5 is not less than 4. So if you remember what I mentioned earlier, I'm going to write something on the screen right now. Let's see. I'm trying to find an empty space where I can write. So if you flip the inequality and put the 5, oh, sorry, Nico. All right. So if you look at Zoom like very quick, if I flip the inequality and switch the 5 and the x around, okay, why am I not allowing me to write? Okay, let me see if I can write on Nico's. Okay, so let's say I have 5 is less than x, and I switch them around and put the x on the left hand side and 5 on the right. I'm writing something on the screen. I'm not sure if you see it. There you go. So remember, the inequality is pointing to the 5. So that means when I reverse the order, I also have to switch the inequality sign. There you go. So that means you're not going to the left of 5, even though the arrow or symbol is pointing there. Okay, because that is not necessarily true. So it depends on how the inequality looks like. So that means you have to shade to the right. X is greater than or equal to 5 means the same thing as 5 is less than or equal to x. Okay. Thanks, Nico. I used your screen as an example. So in cases when you're not sure about the direction, I strongly suggest that you switch the inequality. Okay, I am now looking at slide number 16, and that common mistake is really, really coming out. So I can see that some of your graphs are shaded incorrectly. So remember, if you switch these two around and put x on the left hand side and -2 on the right, remember the symbol is pointing to x. So x is less than -2. So if you shade it right, you have to fix it. Okay, I'm sorry, this is a common mistake, so I'm gonna mention some slides that I see, and you have to go back and fix them. Okay. Oh, I just want to try something. If I anonymize your names, if I click on this one, Do you see like the pseudonym that it assigns to you? Do you see it on your end? Can somebody give me a feedback on that one? Like I click on anonymize and now it's showing like fake names. It shows school. Yeah, because somebody told me last time, Miss, you mentioned my name several times and I wasn't comfortable and I do apologize if I put you in that situation. So I'm gonna mention some names. You have to fix your slide because it's not showing the right direction for the shade. David, if you are named David right now, Sophie, you have to fix the direction. Pierre de Fermat. Oh, these are some famous people, famous mathematicians and historians. All right. Ernst, I don't see where your graph is shaded, or maybe it's too maybe your screen was zoomed in and it's too big on this little box for me to see. Okay, so fix the direction. Pierre de Fermat, fix their graph. David, fix your graph. It just feels weird. Like I'm calling out students that, I mean, names that are not in this class. Okay, so there you go. So if I mention your name, you have to fix your graph. Okay. Now let's keep moving on. Now we're gonna look at some story time, and if you have seen these examples, this will be related to your chapter 2 project. So you might want to start like looking for some real life street signs or you know um, anything that you see around you, and please do not yeah, you may Google, but you can't just copy and paste that Google picture if it's not very clear. So either find a version that is really really neat, and the picture is shown very clearly, or you can also take a picture of it yourself if you can see it in your neighborhood. But for your chapter 2 project, you'll be looking at some signs, and we will be modeling them by using inequalities, okay, in the same way as you see in this story time slides. So you will use a graph and a shade and a number line to write the inequality statement for the story. And the first story is about the speed limit. And of course, you can define any variable that you guys want, right? Okay. And I can see that some of you are already done on this. If you are finished, you know what to do next. You go back to Schoology and do some of the things that are labeled 2.1. Okay? We don't have school on Monday, so some are due like next week. Yeah, but this decimals have it has to be done today. All right. Okay. I think my screen is frozen. We don't have school on Monday. Yeah, if I look at the website correctly, um, it's labeled no school on Monday. It is an unassigned day, but I forgot um the real reason. I will check on that. Oh, Jewish holiday. Okay, cool. Yes. Uh huh. All right. So we thank our Jewish brothers and sisters for giving us some time off our screens, right? And yeah, let's keep them in our thoughts. All right. What is homework? Vincent asked. Um, they are in the chapter 2 folder. They're labeled 2.1. Yes. All right. Oh, low system resources may affect your audio quality. Try closing some applications. Oh, do I have a lot of applications open? Okay. Yeah, I my screen seems to be frozen, and of course, I have 4 other Chromebooks connected to the internet right now. So keep going, guys. You know your goal. You gotta reach the end. Okay. All right. You can hear E-I-E-I-O in the background. That's for my kindergartner. Okay. I can't I can't open the other slides, but you guys keep going. Oh, there. Now it's letting me. Um, oh no, honey, that's not for one day only. Some of those are um, some of those are due next week. If I haven't changed that, I will fix them later. Yep. Okay. Yeah, and one of those is like your notebook. Uh-huh. So there's like a lot of concepts to summarize what we learned today. So don't panic. Don't panic. I'm a mom too, and there was one time when I had to help my child catch up on 23 seesaw assignments. They're both elementary. So I know how that feels, and I will never assign four in a day. All right, I know my screen glitched out too, and I apologize. So, yep. Uh-huh. So which ones are due today? Decimals is due today. That's it. And then you can space out the interleave review and the digital notebook all the way until Monday next week, because I won't meet you until Tuesday, remember? Yeah. Okay. So whatever we do during Zoom time, by default that's due on the same day. So that's the one that I grade like on the same day. Your Zoom is glitched out too? Okay.
No, my tummy hurts, but my Zoom is still going on.
Okay. If you need to excuse yourself, that's okay. If you need to go to the restroom, it's okay. Did you hear what my little one said? She said, "My tummy hurts, but my Zoom is taking a long time." Yeah, and my little one wakes up every morning and says, "I don't want to Zoom. Zoom takes forever." Oh, thank you, Denise. And sorry if sometimes I get interrupted like that. I mean, I'm a mom, so over and above everything else, and I can't just tell them to go away. All right, and I can see most of you are spending time on the stories already. And there's about 10 who are on the last slide. So if you are on the last slide and you're done, okay, so um like uh don't get stuck there for a long time. So go back to Schoology and start on any independent work that you can do while waiting for the others. Okay? All right. Nicholas, is there something I can help you with? Just let me know, honey. Or did you get glitched out too? Okay. Yeah, so move on to the next slide so you can um, see the other examples, and then you can always go back later. Yeah. Okay. Mike usually waits for what? Okay, Christopher, you have to fix your inequality. You finished this in less than 10 minutes, not greater. Is it greater? Okay, I'm not sure if it's greater. That's a safe one, Ryan. Definitely. Less than the first 40 minutes, right? Okay. Um, all right. And now you're writing like a short, description or story to describe it. Okie dokie. I'm gonna give you about 2 more minutes on decimals, and then I'll explain to you how you're gonna do your digital notebook. Okay. If you are done, one thing I'm going to ask you to do is to try try to open the link for the digital notebook if you're using the Google Slide version instead of the Kami version, so you can let me know if it's properly shared or not, because sometimes I forget. You should be able to make a copy of it. Yeah. And in 1 minute, I'm going to ask you to leave decimals behind for a little bit so we can take a look at the other stuff that we need to try to open um, before we log off Zoom today. Okay. So I do not have any preference over, in between the two options for the digital notebook. Again, use what's best for you. Use what you think your device can handle better. I know the Google Slides take so much bandwidth. So if you want to use the Kami, you can also do that. Hmm. Already, I think I have to change it to anyone in LAUSD can open, because right now it says anyone on the internet. So I'll go restricted. Um, no, I have to fix it from my other Google account. So anyway, okay, I'm gonna ask you to leave the decimals platform for a little bit, so I can show you um, what's on your digital notebook. All right. So first, make sure you try to open it if you can open it right now. Otherwise, I have to change the sharing options. So please go ahead and do that. Um, so when you work on this, you can either use the Google Slide version or the. You're hungry? Okay, I'll make some food later for you. All right. So this is our digital notebook. So I try to, give you a variety of options for your digital notebook. This is unlike chapter one. This time it has line papers and some, graph papers. It has our content objectives for the chapter, and Um, this is where you will begin typing your responses. So based on what you did in decimals today, you're going to write down some words that mean the same thing as the symbol that you see on the screen. So let's say, for example, what are the words that mean the same thing as that symbol apart from less than or greater than? So in real life, we do not normally say, just greater than or less than. There are other words that we use. Let's say, for example, we could say no more than, or sometimes we say at least. So where are you going to put those words in? In which part of the graphic organizer are you going to write those down? Okay, so you will summarize all the symbols you learn, and you will also apply, writing inequalities on slide number 3. I think on the third one, you have to represent each sentence as an inequality. Okay, like 3 is less than the number n plus 5. So it's similar to what we did last chapter, but now you're using inequality symbols instead of equations. Okay, in decimals, you were also asked to determine whether or not um, a certain number is a solution. You will also do that on your digital notebook. And I do have a summary here of when to use an open circle or a solid circle. And remember, um, by standard form, we mean the variable is on the left hand side. And on this slide, you will also be able to um, show your proficiency in graphing inequalities. And This is an example of graph for height restrictions in an amusement park. Oh, who misses the amusement park? By the way, this October, um, students your age, um, kids your age, are free to go to San Diego Zoo and Safari Zoo. Okay, but yeah, maintain social distancing. Okay, so we also do have another homework here, but this will be on your Padlet next Monday that we meet, and that's like so long ago from now, so you don't have to panic about it. But I'm just letting you know in advance so you can plan ahead of time. You will explain how to graph the inequality x is greater than -2 to someone you are speaking to on the phone. And to submit your work, you have two options: either create a 2-minute video. I have already created the activity page on Flipgrid, so you can have time to watch some YouTube videos on how to do that as well. Oh, no worries, Latroy's mine glitched out too, so we're on the same boat. Or you can create a 2-minute screencast using Screencastify. You have to download the Chrome extension, and a free Screencastify device or account allows you to record 5 minutes maximum. So screencast is just like what I'm doing when I'm recording, my lesson as I do them with you. All right. So that's for your digital notebook, and the rest in Schoology are for independent work. Okay. So I do hope that you had like a good time to review inequalities today, writing and graphing inequalities. And again, you don't have to worry about putting some stuff together for digital notebook. Just leave them as they are, turn them in when you're done. Yep. um, okay, so writing inequality homework. What do we turn in for the graphing and writing inequality? That homework La choice is just a discussion, so just read the short prompt and then just write your response in a sentence or two. So there's no computation. Yeah. Okay. No computation needed for that one. Okay, do you guys have other questions that you want to talk about right now? Where is the prompt? Oh, doesn't it show there? If you go to write and graph, let's see. Um, Let me go to that discussion prompt and see what's in it. Yeah, I try to like prepare my lessons weeks in advance, so I forgot. Let me check. Now tonight is back to school night. Here we go, Latroy's. That's a prompt. So tonight is back to school night. Unfortunately, I won't be able to join you because I have another teacher training. So let me show you here. In addition to sending you a remind and a Schoology message as well, on where to find the materials for the back to school night today. So I created a video and some slides that you guys can show your parents. So I am looking at the San Pedro High School website. So we go sanpedrohs.org. Sorry, I didn't see what's in the chat. Give me one sec. I'll open it in my other device. What if you can go, or we can do back to school night? Oh, it's optional. It's not required unless your teacher are giving you extra credit. So in the San Pedro website, if you go to contact on the left or the rightmost column, you will see three options there: contact, staff directory, and transcript request. You click on staff directory. I will also send you a remind message and Schoology message on this one. So if you go to staff directory, you will see everybody in San Pedro High School. Everybody from San Pedro High School. Now you look for the math department. So they are not grouped by magnet or stuff like that, but they're grouped by department. So look for the math department. It says mathematics. And, my name is right underneath the department label. So if you click on my name, it will show you my page. And ooh, this is loading very slow. But yeah, okay, here you go. If you click on my name, you will see the the uh, the slides on the very first page or on the home page where it says Back to School Night 2020 PDF. So you will either open that, or if you don't want to click on slides, just go to video and audio, and all you need to do is play the video, and that's it. So I'm going, like, I recorded a screencast explaining what we do in the scores, grading system, and stuff like that. Okay, so there you go. That's where you can access your back to school night information. Okay, I went 7 minutes over time, but thank you for joining me today. If you have any questions, I stay logged in until about 10 o'clock. Just shoot me a message, and yeah, I will see you next week. Okay, and I will fix the deadlines for your homework. Okay.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
You too. Look, bye. You have a good one. You too. Have fun, honey.
Mommy. 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 Mommy.
Adios. Have a good day. Bye. See ya.
Mommy, what
Yeah.
are you saying?
Yep. I'm using two screens so I can see my other
People?
work. Yeah.
People?
Yes.
Your other students?
Yep.
Have a nice day.
Bye, La Troyes.
Bye.
Mommy. I just feel like it.
Mm-hmm.
Mommy, I just feel like it.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like it. Do you want the milk?
Bye, look.
I want the milk. If you milk, you win. When you love, you win. You not. So, you lost. But
Mm-hmm.
when you win,
Mm-hmm.
so. Don't plug in. And
Mm-hmm.
win.
Okay,
Now,
let's go make some food. You want pizza?
yep.
Okay, good job.
I'll go buy.
Mm-hmm.
It's all buy.
Mm-hmm.
Can you watch this? Can you watch this?
No, your Zoom is starting for you.
This is it. No bed.
Okay, let's go make some food so you don't have a headache. Because you might have a headache if you're hungry.
Let's make some food and not gonna have a headache or tummy.
Oh no.
I'm gonna die.
What? If you don't eat, you're gonna die. Okay, what do you want? Pizza?
Hmm?
What do you want? Huh?
Bread and Taiwan.
Hmm?
Bread and Taiwan.